Hi, my name's Emma Watson and I'm here to talk about ballet shoes. I first heard about ballet shoes when I was promoting the 5th Harry Potter in New York, and my agent sent me a script and they said, shooting in 3 or 4 weeks. I know it's very last minute, but you have to read it. It's absolutely amazing. And I read it on the plane on the way back and just fell in love with it. And I was kind of all set to go back to school, and I just felt like I really had to do it. And when I met Sandra as well, I got on so well with her, Sandra the director. We had this wonderful kind of tea, and she showed me all of the concept ideas for it, and she kind of talked me through her vision, and I just had to be part of it. I hadn't actually read the book previously, but I called my grandma Frida, and she said that it was her favourite book when she was growing up as a girl, and she just told me kind of how it had, changed the way that she looked at things, because she felt after reading it that kind of anything was possible, and she just found the story very inspiring, and she'd read it kind of 3 or 4 times, and she told me how much she loved it and that she really thought, I should try and do it. This is actually the 3rd project I have been part of where the film is based on a novel. Harry Potter is based on a novel. I've just done an animated film called The Tale of Despereaux, which is also based on a novel, and obviously so is Ballet Shoes. So I'm kind of used to working on projects where there's kind of a responsibility to be true to its original source material. And, very similar to Harry Potter, Ballet Shoes is kind of such a treasured and loved novel by so many different generations. In a way it's nice working on something that's based on a book, because you have so much to work from. I read the script, but I also read the book, and while the script is slightly different in the sense that we are slightly older as characters than they would have been in the book, I really think that we were very true to the spirit and what it was about. I just wanted to do it so much that I just made it work, really. I was kind of missing the first 2-3 weeks back at school, which wasn't great, but it was worth it. I love the atmosphere of being part of a kind of a very small crew, because you really get to know everyone and you feel like you're working together as a team, and you're part of something quite small, and that makes you feel like you have more kind of creative control, which is really nice. And I also loved that we kind of shoot 3 or 4 scenes in a day, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but on Potter we'll do 1 scene a week. So it was really nice. Kind of I had to be very on top of my lines, very on top of what I was doing, because we'd move on to other things so quickly, and I kind of relished that challenge. And the hours that they work are much, much longer than what I'm used to on Potter, because I just started working adult hours, so it was kind of like 6 o'clock pickup every day, finishing at kind of 7 or 8 in the evening. So, and we were working 6-day weeks as well. We did Saturdays, so it was pretty exhausting, but which made me even more thankful that I got on so well with everyone else who was a part of the project. I really enjoyed working with Amelia Fox and Victoria Wood and Eileen Atkins, Mark Warren. There was just an absolutely incredible cast, and of course there are members from the Harry Potter cast who I'd kind of worked with before. Richard Griffiths plays Mr. Dursley in Harry Potter. We have never actually worked together. I've obviously met him, and we've kind of passed each other in the corridor, and I've been having hair and makeup done and stuff, but I've never actually had the chance to work with him. So when I found out that he was playing Great Uncle Matthew, also known as Gum, then it was great. We had a chance to kind of really work together, and I think he was perfect for the role. And of course Gemma Jones as well, who plays one of our lodgers, was also in Harry Potter, so we kind of had a mini Harry Potter reunion in Ballet Shoes. I think that's one of the things that really drew me to Ballet Shoes as well, was the opportunity to work with Amelia and Victoria particularly, who I knew had been cast at the time. Victoria has such an amazing sense of humour, and she's just very, very sharp and very, very witty, and she was just perfect as Nana. And I had some really great talks with Amelia, who is actually doing the degree that I want to do at university, so I had a really good talk with her about that, and just about the business in general, and she was just really, really lovely. Of course, Eileen Atkins, who plays Madame Fidolia, I loved talking to her. She's had the most incredible career. She's done so many amazing things, and she was actually in a play at the time about Virginia Woolf, who was one of my was one of my A-level texts. So I had lots of long talks with her about English literature and Virginia Woolf. So that was fun, and yeah, she was just really great cast. I was very, very lucky. I loved being part of a trio which was all girls. It was such a nice kind of change or break from Harry Potter, because I'm usually always surrounded by guys, and I'm usually kind of the odd one out, or the girl. So it was so nice just to be surrounded by women all the time, and Amelia and Victoria and Lucy and Yasmin, and we had just a really nice time. My twin sisters, Nina and Lucy Watson, they're identical twin sisters. They had a small cameo role as Pauline when she's much younger, because when I went for my first audition, Piers, who's the producer, said, "Oh, we're trying to find a kind of young you at the moment." And I said, "Oh, it's funny, because I have, two identical 3-year-old sisters who obviously, you're not going to find anyone who looks much more like me than someone who's in my family." So he said, "Oh, that's perfect. Well, they can have a cameo role." So they were very excited, and obviously, because they're twins, it's great, because when you're working with actors who are so young, they get tired quite quickly. They can throw tantrums. It's a little bit. So you can kind of swap one off or one on, depending on whose behaviour is the best at that time during the day. I think it was Nina who actually got on camera in the end. Pauline in the book is described as having this amazing kind of platinum blonde hair, which obviously I don't really have in real life, so I had to have my hair dyed, and I actually had it dyed twice. The first time they had it done, it wasn't really quite blonde enough, or how they imagined it, so I had to have it done again. I think I pulled it off, just about. I think it looked natural. I mean, I'm quite fair naturally, so it wasn't too bad. But that was pretty much all I had to do to fit in, to look like Pauline. I know that Lucy Boynton, who plays Posey, she had to dye her hair bright red, and I know that she really struggled with that at the beginning. So I feel like I got off quite lightly, to be honest. But she was so good about it, and actually I really think it suited her. She really pulled it off. She has this very kind of fair skin, so it looked good. Sue Weiberg, who was chief makeup artist on Ballet Shoes, she's so creative and so great at what she did. I had so much fun with her putting together looks for Pauline. Obviously, it's a fabulous time period, which is the 30s, so for the premiere I got to wear this amazing kind of bright red lipstick, which I absolutely loved, and I had to have my hair kind of in rollers in this very 30s, like kind of waved style. Of course, because she's an actress, she plays Alice in Wonderland, she's in Midsummer Night's Dream. The Midsummer Night's Dream makeup was amazing. I kind of had I had glitter kind of all around my eyes, all down my face. It was very kind of dramatic, and so that was great. I loved doing that. Absolutely loved it. And of course, as well, she's also in a very small film, which is where she kind of becomes famous overnight, and she's very concerned about her performance in that and whether she's any good. And so it's a very, very period piece. So I had to wear this kind of corseted Tudor gown, and I had to wear a wig as well, because in that time period, kind of Charles I kind of time, they would have worn wigs. So that was interesting as well. I absolutely loved playing a part where I felt like I looked really different, and that I could you know, try different costumes and different looks and just feel completely separate from Hermione and just really become someone completely different. And it was just so much fun because, you know, usually I spend my life in school uniform and kind of jeans and a t-shirt, so I loved wearing all the dresses and trying all the makeup and all the different hairstyles, and I had so much fun with it. It was nice. One of my favourite scenes in the film, but I have a feeling it's just because I have kind of such fond memories attached to that scene and because I enjoyed filming it so much, is the girls take Sylvia on holiday because she's quite ill, and they think that, you know, kind of nice weather will kind of improve her health. So they go on a kind of camping trip, and there's this scene down by the river, and we're kind of running down by the lake, and Petrova and Pauline are chasing Posey, and she's kind of screaming, and I don't know, it was just really fun, and it just kind of looks really beautiful and idyllic, and I don't know, it just reminds me of that day, which was just beautiful weather and just with such a nice crew and such a nice cast. And I remember we all ate outside together, and it was just really nice. So I don't know, I guess that's a favourite scene because I kind of have very fond memories of it. If I had to pick another one, which, you know, is just watching the film as a whole, is just something that I really liked, was I loved being given the chance to, I have a scene where I have to audition for a part, and it meant that I got to read Shakespeare, and I recited Puck's piece from A Midsummer Night's Dream.
I am that merry wanderer of the night. I jest to Oberon and make him smile. When I a fat and bean-fed horse beguile, neighing in likeness of filly foal. Sometimes lurk I in a gossip's bowl, in very likeness of a roasted crab. And when she drinks against her lips, I bob, and on her withered dewlaps pours the ale.
Shakespeare is something I am really interested in doing, and I'd love to try to do more theatre, try to do some theatre. Actually, this summer I'm doing the RADA, which is the Royal Academy for Drama in London. It's a very famous school for drama. They do a kind of summer course for Shakespeare, and so I'm spending 3 or 4 weeks doing that this summer, which I absolutely can't wait to do. We were put in harnesses for this scene in Midsummer Night's Dream because we kind of get hoisted up in the air and we kind of fly. It really was fun. It was nice. Although after a while, after kind of the 4th or 5th take, and you're kind of in this really tight harness, it does get a little bit uncomfortable. But no, it was a fun scene, definitely. Pauline doesn't actually do a huge amount of dance. She's not really interested in being a ballet dancer or a tap dancer or whatever. She just really wants to be an actress. But there are a couple of scenes where, you know, there's a couple of shots of her kind of joining in with a dance class or whatever. So I kind of had 4 or 5 hours of ballet rehearsal, which I actually loved because I did ballet when I was much younger, and I love to dance. So it was kind of like an added bonus for me that I got to do that as well. I was very jealous of that Posey got to do so much in the film. But no, it was really, really good fun. And I don't know, there's also a couple of kind of more spontaneous dance scenes where we're all just kind of hanging out as a family and we're just playing around and being silly. But of course, in the 30s, there's kind of a very sort of set way that they would have danced. So we kind of had to be taught kind of the style they would have done that in, which was fun too. So no, I had a great time. I think I did feel like a better dancer after ballet shoes. I hadn't done any dance for absolutely ages, so it made me want to do more. It really made me want to do more. And Pineapple Dance Studios, which is where we did all of our dance rehearsals, is kind of very close to where I live. So I've actually gone back for a couple of other dance lessons since. They do all kinds of different classes, so that was fun. Pauline experiences this kind of overnight fame when she appears in this film, and I really related to her kind of anxiety before the film comes out. There's this line that she says that I remember reading in the script and just thinking, wow, I really know how that feels, which is that she says, tomorrow night my face is going to be blown up as big as a house. and everyone's going to find me out, and no one's going to think I'm any good, and just that anxiety. I just really know how that feels. And she kind of also experienced this very peculiar, just overnight fame, and just the way she kind of has to make all of these very big decisions afterwards as a consequence of that. And I really relate to that, and feeling very torn between kind of, I don't know, this massive responsibility of having quite a kind of adult career and profession quite young, and then also feeling really attached to your family and your old life, and just, I don't know, I actually found it very easy to play Pauline and to kind of slip into the role, just because her experiences and how she deals with things are very similar to myself. So, I was concerned at first that I wouldn't be able to kind of leave Hermione behind, and that I was just worried about playing something completely different. But actually, I found it pretty easy. So I was lucky there. The girls really have a struggle on their hands because Gum, who kind of adopted them, has disappeared, and the money basically runs out. So there's kind of a necessity for them to work, but also separately, all three of the girls are very ambitious themselves. Posy wants to be a ballerina because all her mother left her before she died were these beautiful pink satin ballet shoes. That was kind of what she chose to leave her daughter, never to see her again. So I think Posy feels very strongly that that is her calling and that's her destiny, and obviously she's also hugely talented. Petrova loves car engines, cars, aeroplanes, mechanics, but she really wants to fly a plane like Amy Johnson. And Pauline, she just loves the stage. She loves to act. She loves becoming a character. I think she's also very tied up in the this very glamorous idea of what it is to be an actress as well. Whether or not she finds that to be true in the end is, well, you'll see. But I think their story is very inspiring because they succeed against the odds, and they find a balance between their own ambition and being part of a family, and there are all these different forces pulling them different ways, and there's conflict and friction, and they all have a lesson to learn. I mean, Pauline has quite a big kind of fall from grace because she gets very caught up. She's actually very insecure about herself and whether she's any good, but she starts to think there's a certain way that she should act, I think, and she becomes very arrogant and kind of cocky, and she starts just being a bit of a brat, basically, and she loses her starring role in Alice in Wonderland. And she learns a really big lesson. She's really gutted by it. It really hits her very hard. Obviously, because the family are relying on the financial, what she's earning from it, but also because she was kind of living her dream, and it was kind of taken away from her. So I don't know. I think it's very interesting, and I think anyone who watches it will be able to relate to, one of or all of the girls in the story and the journey that they go through. And it sounds very corny, but basically I think the message of the film is that dreams can come true, and if you believe in something enough and you want something enough, then anything is possible, anything can happen. And I think that's I think that's a great message.